That's a tough act to follow. My name is Pam Perry, and I was asked to speak tonight as a recipient, or a parent or recipient of some of the services to bring a kind of personal touch, so you know there are lots of us in the community who've benefited from what Easter Seals has to offer. And about 8 years ago, I watched the Intergenerational Center being constructed. I would drive by it on my way to and from work every day. And around that same time, my twins, I have preemie twins who were nearly 3 years old, one of whom was not doing well, who was developmentally missing every milestone and doing pretty poorly, relatively speaking, and we were kind of desperate. My husband and I were in that situation of, we have health insurance, we have jobs, we have resources, but we don't know what to do. We have fabulous doctors, but we didn't quite know where to turn. So we started layering on, medical assistance to try to help us figure out what was going on. And one of the services we layered on was speech-language pathology at Children's Hospital. My children were home with the nanny, who was providing them with loving care. But the specialist told us that our daughter, because she couldn't speak, needed to be in an environment where people would make her speak, since there were no barriers to her speaking, just all of her needs were being met. And so one day, I saw a sign for Child Development Center. It had just opened, and I pulled over the car, and on my way to work, and I walked in, and I said, "What's this Child Development Center? What is it?" And I had just gotten this news like 2 days ago, like, you need to fire your nanny, you need to change everything in your life. And the Child Development Center at the Intergenerational Center ended up being kind of a beacon for us. It helped us not just so I have twins, one who was neurotypical and one of whom had special needs, and I now needed a solution for both of them and wanted desperately to keep them together. And so I enrolled them on the spot, gave notice to my nanny, and brought them within a week. They started at the Child Development Center. And my daughter received speech services there, occupational therapy there. My children were the first children in the preschool room there. They had hired the preschool teachers. They had these 2 special ed teachers hired to run the preschool program with no kids yet, because they hadn't built up to 3-year-olds yet. But they opened it for them and moved another kid over with them. My kids had an amazing couple of years at that Child Development Center. My daughter really flourished, and my husband and I were supported, not just by having our daughter's needs met in an integrated fashion on site at Easter Seals, but also through the resources we were connected to and the relationships that we formed with other families, because we were feeling really isolated in a town of everybody thinks their child is a genius. And we are with our fancy educations and whatnot, and we can't participate in that. We refuse to participate in that. And Easter Seals connected us with a larger community of families of, with children of differing needs, as well as services directly that they connected us with at Easter Seals. And it really kind of saved us at that time when we were free-falling. And we didn't feel as if we were free-falling anymore. We felt as if this was going to be okay, whatever it was. And there was a path forward, and there was support, and there are people who, people of all different abilities, children of all different abilities who are living rich lives. And that was nice to see. And then, to this day, some of our closest friends are the parents of kids who went to Easter Seals with our kids 8 years ago. Because salt of the earth families, and we bonded because the families bonded and were integrated. Nobody ran into the Child Development Center and yanked their kid at the end of the day. You ran in and you sat down on the floor and you talked to other people and you lingered because you're hoping to see the parents of another kid with whom you want to have a chit chat or whatever, touch base. And then the other thing is, I'm a huge believer in early intervention and the power of what it can do to transform a child's life. And you know, I think that we saw right out of the day, you know, what early intervention can do, what's possible. We also saw what relationship-based learning looks like when it works well, because everybody was bonded together as a community in small classes with very hands-on teachers. It's unfortunate that we left there and went to public schools where it's much more difficult to kind of deliver services to children who have special needs. But we knew what it should look like, and it helped empower us to fight DC Public Schools, to fight Montgomery County Public Schools, to get our daughter the services that she deserves and is entitled to by law. And then we became a little weary from the fighting, and we found a wonderful progressive private school called McLean School in Potomac, where she now attends, and she is a 5th grader, almost on grade level, playing on the school soccer team, playing the piano, reading, all of these things that I would never have thought possible when she was 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. But people told me to just keep at it, get her the support that she needs. She may not go to Harvard like her mama, but I assure you she has a rich and wonderful life. And I really thank Easter Seals for helping to set us on the path, both in terms of providing her the support that she needs and showing us what that looks like so that we can fight for it for the remainder of her life. So thank you for the opportunity.